Hello. It's Sauna day. I am just sharing to the other page and then I will get shaken. Well, today I'm not shaking, I'm sweating. So I'll get a little more into detail on that here. If you are just joining me and you have questions related to today's session, please join me on the main Life Pro page. I've shared this in a few places, but jump over to the main Life Pro Fitness page and you'll see the main stream coming through there. So towards the end, when I get to questions, if you would like to join me and ask, they will come through from that end. If you're just commenting in a feed or somewhere I've shared this, I will not necessarily see this. Okay, hang on, it's giving me grief, of course. Just a sec. There we go. Pro VIP. Okay. Okay. Well, we're a week away from Easter. So maybe I'm being a little proactive this session in talking about the benefits of using, today I'm going to talk about infrared saunas. And I am wearing sweat-friendly, get comfortable attire. And last night in getting ready, I had my awesome Life Pro towel all clean and hung and ready. And then somebody did a sauna session. So I don't have my awesome Life Pro towel to show off today. Today I am in Life Pro's box sauna. And I call it a box sauna because back in the day when I got into saunas, there wasn't what there is today. There was 2 or 3 different types. And in my studio, there were this traditional style, different types of woods and sizes. And we had a lot of experience early on using saunas for a variety of different things. Probably about a year or 2 after I opened my studio, we started retailing lay down and using a lay down sauna. And, there is never one best tool for every application, but there certainly is preferences. So today I want to talk a little about the different styles because there's so much choice that Life Pro offers now. And infrared is a setting on many of their light therapy tools. So today I wanted to cast a little bit of light and discuss specifically traditional saunas, getting the sweat on, why you might want to do that, more of a total body experience, if you will, and some of the options that Life Pro has available for that. So before I get into too much of a ramble, I want to, if you are joining me, if somebody could let me know that they see and hear me on the other end, that would be fantastic. I am going to drop a link. Amazon was probably the best place to see all of the different styles of saunas. Some are available with Life Pro Direct. Some are available in Canada, the US, and the UK sites. And it depends on the product that you're looking at. But if you're looking at a larger box sauna, no, it's not something that Life Pro sells in every country. There's a lot of logistics involved in something like this. So I wanted today to sort of talk first about some just basic benefits, why you might use a sauna, and then I'll get into a few of the different types of options that are available out there. Again, if you're joining me on the other end, please just tell me where you're from. If you maybe you have this sauna now, or you have a similar style. This is the original box sauna that Life Pro, the wood sauna that they launched with. Hello there. Thank you, Sherry, for letting me know. I'm assuming by you making a comment that you can hear me echoing. There was no good way to set up the mic today. So I've got everything sort of set up right here in front of me. I keep doing my thing. When I get into my sauna, my favorite thing is to do some stretching. And I've spent entirely too much time editing videos and making notes and hunched over my computer like some old relic. So I like, this is my sciatic stretch. I've done a video on this, but this forces my posture, gets me into some breathing. One of the biggest things you want to be mindful all the time, but we don't think about all the time until we're dying of thirst. Clue: stay hydrated. Make sure you've got something that's going to keep you quenched. And if you're planning for a big sweat fest or it's your first session, you may, don't just chug a liter of water before your session. Give yourself, your body time to get hydrated before your session. So make sure you've got water before, during, and after. Try to avoid alcoholic or dehydrating beverages, foods, things that are going to deplete you further before you sweat more in here. When you're doing your sauna, normally I'm wearing less than I am now, but it depends. Since I kind of did sauna tips the first time for Life Pro, my experience and my opinion changes, and it really depends on the time of year, and it also depends on why you're doing your sauna. So if the goal is to get to sweat, your conditioning, your training, you see these things on the internet. Life Pro has reinvented it simply by offering wraps. There's sauna suits. There's all these different outfits you can buy, but it's very inexpensive to just use some of the wraps that come with Life Pro saunas. You can also buy those as they're just a foil wrap that keeps the heat in and forces you to get to that sweat point faster. You can add additional clothing, so throw on a sweatsuit, t-shirt, layer up. I tend to just go light and wear like a cotton tank top, or I have all kinds of jumpers, my Mrs. Roper outfits. And then that way, if I'm getting hot throughout the course of my session, I have access to wipe what's sweating. And what you'll find if you're just starting out as a new sauna user, sometimes it takes a session or 2 or 3 before you really start perspiring. And what you'll notice is when your body kind of becomes accustomed to it, all of a sudden, 5-10 minutes into it, the sweat will be there. With the box style, I want to make sure that depending on just your ambient air and the time of year that you're using it. Mine is in a basement, so it tends to get a little chillier certain times of year. So I like to get into a hot sauna, full temp, and be done in 15 minutes. My kids prefer a little bit more of an experience where they'll sit and maybe we've got a TV set up outside the sauna here. Maybe listen to some tunes. If you're dealing with heat sensitivity, if you are wanting to do a longer session but just can't stand the heat for the longer periods, get in, part temp. So if you've got it set for max temperature, get in 5 minutes early, or depending on how long it takes to heat up. The advantage of having a smaller sauna, if you're looking at a box sauna, everybody dreams of the big 3-4 man where you can lay down and have a big party, but they take a lot more power and a lot more heat to hook up. So the beauty of this smaller model, and there's room for me and my daughter. I tend to sit up in it. I don't put my feet up on the bench, but you can, there's room, is you'll heat up quicker and consume less power. You don't require any special outlet to connect this. When you get into larger models with some other brands, not only is there a step up in power requirement, the first sauna I ever bought, I had to get an electrician in because I couldn't plug it into the panel. I had to upgrade my whole panel. So, the Life Pro is always thinking of you, that home user. And if you are in a clinic or a wellness center, it's not something people want to do together anyways. So smaller, more compact, 2 or 3 saunas is a better way to service more people in a shorter period than one big sauna. Most people want to have private space anyways. Other tips: have your towels handy. If you are not sweating by your 4th or your 5th session, there are conditions out there where it's harder for our body to sweat. Or unable to sweat, and that doesn't necessarily mean you can't use a sauna, but you do run a risk of overheating. So please make sure that before you use a sauna of any kind, especially if you're dealing with a medical concern, chronic issues, you just have that discussion with your doctor. There's a lot of assumptions. When I posted the session last night, first question I got was, I thought, you can't use heat with lipedema. Lipedema, not lymphedema, is a condition that I support, and many in the community just do not tolerate heat well. But it's not one of those things. I don't know where it came from. I hear it all the time. Oh, you can't use, you can't tolerate heat if you have lipedema. And I just have never found a source. And I find by far so many more are receiving benefit by using it. So, it's very much an individual thing. But if you are dealing with a condition where you do not perspire, you want to have a discussion with your doctor or care provider first. And as I said, if you're wanting to increase the sweat factor, be that for conditioning, perhaps it's detoxification, the wraps that Life Pro includes, and the wrapping up with some extra clothes or towels is another good way to do it too. So why would you want to, invest in this type of technology? Well, detoxification for me, which is kind of up there in, it used to, for me, it used to be weight loss. I've lost weight, and I'm maintaining that weight loss. So my focus is on other things. So just like a vibration plate, which is more my wheelhouse, with saunas, the initial reason that you purchased it and how you use it when you first got it to get those results or whatever it is that your goals are is going to change and evolve. And in something like this is a longer term investment. I've moved it actually a couple times in my house. It goes together like a puzzle piece, so it's not terribly impossible to move. It's not like you're permanently committed once you've set it up. I do recommend, with this model in particular, 2, even 3 people is a dream to set it up. It's not that it's difficult or hard, but there's getting the walls together and the floor. It's a large puzzle that consists of about 6 or 7 pieces. So it is ideal if you've got some extra hands to help you assemble it for the first time. I've got mine on a hard surface floor, and I've got little carpet sliders under the feet. So if I need to move it this way or that way, because I tend to move things around in my studio seasonally. But on something like this longer term, then you could feasibly take it with you in a move situation, something like that. But the larger box saunas, once you've accomplished your goals, this is something you need to maintain. Detoxification doesn't stop. We're always being inundated with more toxins. We all fall off the bandwagon and have that cheeseburger and fries, and it's hard sometimes when you're just living life, and I want you to enjoy life. But once perhaps you've done a series of sessions to ramp up, you're doing a cleanse, perhaps you just sort of got started and you've fallen off the bandwagon, probably 1 to 2 times a week in the summer, if you are dealing with aches and pains and detoxification. I tend to use it more in the winter, of course, because it's cold and snowy in Canada where I'm from. But it really is much more designed with your goals in mind. And a lot of my folks in the States and Australia can't. Why would I use a sauna? I live in a tropical environment, but sometimes you can't always, just sit out there and enjoy the heat if it's 37 degrees. Or perhaps, today's your only day off and you really wanted to just roast and have a good sweat and it's raining outside. So it allows you to be more diligent and in control of your self-care. And with the programmability of some of the devices that Life Pro offers, you're in control of when and what your sensitivities are at the time. Maybe you are recovering from something and you just need a little bit more time and lower temperatures starting out. Maybe you're in a hurry or you've got other things and you're trying to do this as a post or a pre-treatment for something else. So you're going to max the temperature and maybe spend 10 to 15 minutes. So just like a vibration plate, just like a massage gun, a sauna is a tool. And how you use it isn't a cookie cutter protocol thing. And for those of you that are dealing with chronic conditions and you have good days and you have bad days, the adjustable settings, the lights, whether you choose to incorporate them or not, you can really customize your experience to how you're feeling at the time. And maybe once you're in here for a little while, you want to crank the heat up, or maybe you're finding it's a little too warm and you want to turn it down. It's very much about how you're feeling more than what I say to set it at and how many times a week to do it. You can overdo it. I like to say if you've done a true honest sauna session, you've broken a sweat, you've spent a good 15, 20 minutes at least in your sauna, you should probably give your body the next day to recover, especially if you're doing other activities, the gym or a class. That being said, many of my users, this is how they end every day. Like they can't imagine not doing their sauna before they go to bed. But give your body time to become accustomed, learn what your temperature comfort zones are, and what your tolerance is time-wise. And don't just keep doing it more and more often and longer. You're going to run the risk of overdoing it. Next to water, and every time I do one of these, I mean to put this on my list. The number 2 essential item to have especially if you're doing a video for Life Pro from your sauna while it's going, is lip balm. I like mint. That's my first choice, but do not leave it in the sauna. Done that too, and you'll have a nice little pool. Another reason to line with towels. So comfort tips. I have a large fluffy bath towel I like to sit on. I don't like sitting directly on the wood, and as I've gotten older, I need a little more padding, I'm finding. Don't, if you're using the large style sauna, there is an infrared panel where your feet are positioned. Don't leave your towels on the floor. Joel thinks of everything. There's a nice little hook here. There's also a cup holder, and you can position these wherever you feel comfortable. But keep your towels hung up and off the heaters, especially if you're warming it up. It's really easy just to open the door and just drop it and not think. It's somewhere buried in the back in your safety stuff. But common sense, you've got a heater. Don't put fabric up. You feel how hot that is on your body? So just common sense applies. But there's all kinds of, this is entirely wood. I've added a couple of extra hooks. I bought these awesome cotton placemats at some secondhand store. So I have one on the floor outside so that when my feet are sweaty or if I'm coming in, I'm minimizing the amount of dust. And I do vacuum this out once in a while. Just dust particles and things get in the way. But typically come in with clean, bare feet, and you shouldn't have any issues with it at all. Let's move on to other ones. So this has been, this is my winter sauna. Let's call it that. I love the total body experience. There is a bench backrest, so you can sort of position this wherever feels comfortable for you. I tend to have a video or a podcast or something going or catch up on some things that I want to listen to. And ideally, I'm probably, when I'm ramping up at my detox, I'm probably 3 to 4 times a week for a good hot 15 to 20 minutes. Maintenance mode, when I'm not using it as often, I can't take the temperatures as much. And so I tend to do a little bit of a lower, longer session, more of an experience, a half-hour thing just to shut it all out. Interesting fact, I'm now 53 this year in October. And I remember back in the day, and I'm experiencing this myself, I find I'm going through flashes. I know there's a million remedies for it, but I'm not very diligent outside of my tech toys. And what I have found with my sauna use is if I'm frequent, so if I'm doing it 2, 3, 4 times a week, my flashes, okay, I'm sweating when I'm in the sauna. I'm probably bringing on a flash, but I don't find the frequency or the severity when I do have them on my sauna days. So isn't that interesting? I challenge any of you that may have saunas to see, just pay. It's not something you think about because it's not really one of those marketed benefits. Oh, less hot flashes. But I'm thinking, you come into your sauna, you get it over and done with. Anyways, any observations on that side would be interesting. This one right now in the US retails normally for $19.99. The big thing you got to think about with this type of an item is delivery and the astronomically rising costs associated with the shipping of goods in today's world. Free delivery on this with Life Pro. Oh yes, and it's 20% off as well. So right now this style and the new model has red light therapy in I've got my chromotherapy, my sex lights as I call them. But the new model has red light therapy as well as an option built into it. So you're $19.99 on Amazon regular right now, $15.99 delivered. So that's 20% off. I couldn't fit all saunas on camera. The next step, in my opinion, if you are looking for an indoor sauna experience, and there isn't one that's better than the other, I want you to visualize yourself. If you're sitting here listening to me ramble and it's already getting hard on the hips, and maybe you're more of a lay down person, without stepping to a much larger sauna with larger power costs, as I had mentioned, the Infradome is another model you'll see in the link that I posted earlier, and it's a lay down style. You're going to get warmer quicker because it's less confined space. It incorporates a couple of different technologies. So you've got infrared, near infrared in the dome. It's also got red light built into the top of the dome, and the mat, which is infrared, has red lights, also incorporates pulse electromagnetic field therapy. Very passive. Perhaps you're dealing with spine issues or circulatory issues and you want to be lateral. That is another option that can be set up on the floor. I've set it up on the bed, just on a big comforter. And it stores away into a closet if you don't have room to store it. So that's another option in between. That is also $19.99. That one's $15.99 regular price. Pretty big value. When I was looking at the prices this morning, the Infradome, the lay down model, it's black, it's sexy. It's not on sale, but the value at $15.99. If you looked up the far infrared PEMF full size mat, you're looking at a substantial investment of like $400 to $500 already. So that's the mat that's in the bottom of the Zen Zone. So you're getting that pulse electromagnetic field therapy, the red light, the infrared, and they're interadjustable. So there's a control panel that comes with the Zen Zone. You can have independent, separate temperatures from the top half, the bottom half. You can turn the lights on, off. You can incorporate PEMF. I like combining technologies because I like to get my self-care done in less time. So it's a great way to not only ramp up benefits and results, but just as a time saver. So that's the next option. The third, but very mentionable and such a fun option, it is summer, is the Zen Zone. The Zen Zone is old school, traditional sweat lodge. So you're outside. It's one of those awesome new designs that just pops up. Nice one, Joel. And it also includes, huge value on this one, the wood burning stove, and there's a temperature and a humidity gauge that comes with it, and a little poker tool and a little oven glove. So it basically everything in a box that you need to run outside of getting yourself some wood at the campground or what have you. The Zen Zone is for outdoor use. It's $9.99. It's also 20% off. So it's $7.99 right now. As I said, it includes the stove, the tent, with that. So it's the complete package. I'm in a season, as I mentioned earlier, where we get snow. It's also equally cool as an ice fishing tent because it's got no floor. Packs away to nothing. I've got ours in the camper for that season, which is coming very soon. So it's just an outdoor option. I think if you entertain lots, if you have friends over, everybody's always going to do hot tubs at my sister's house. Why not come do a sweat lodge at mine? So the Zen Zone is a cool option. I'm mentioning these two with the 20% off on Amazon. Let's face it, we're at a time where things seem to be increasing in price, as does shipping. So I don't know whether, certain taxes are about to be implemented or not, but the stock I'm referring to is what's in warehouse right now. So there's always the possibility of an increase, so much more lately than the possibility of a decrease. So if you're considering an investment, and that's what this is a long-term investment in the larger box sauna or in the Infradome or in the Zen Zone, I suggest you consider, and I've put the Amazon link there. If you are purchasing through Amazon, one thing I want to mention with saunas or any of Life Pro's products, you're Amazon's customer. So any of the support, the VIP club, if you've never heard about it, me, we don't get access to the same information that Life Pro provides when you're buying through Amazon versus Life Pro Direct. So make sure that if you are a new time customer to Life Pro, make sure you do a review, of course. But make sure you get in contact with Life Pro. They have a huge, nobody does community like Life Pro. So if you're, whether it's a sauna or a vibration plate or whatever it is that you're using, make sure that you get set up with the VIP group, follow their pages, and 9 times out of 10 new products, that sense of community, sharing information, you just don't get that when you're dealing strictly through Amazon. So do some shopping there, but there's a whole community on Facebook and online that you may or may not be aware of. I just wanted to mention that. So other options, I want to get into infrared, but I live at a 250 square foot apartment. I don't have room for this, Debbie, or I'm not working right now. I really, really want to, get into this type of technology, but it's going to be some time before I can commit the real estate or the checkbook to these type of items. So Life Pro has you in mind. So the opposite end and the benefits of infrared are the benefits of infrared. The blankets are sometimes, in some people's cases, a better option. The blankets are compact. They fold up. You can store them away. The blankets are my number one choice for my traveling chronic users. So many of them have, perhaps a box sauna, or they started with the bag style set. They look like a sleeping bag is how you get into them. And there's also all kinds of crossover technologies between red light but the blankets tend to be more packable, more portable, for one of two reasons: whether you're lacking space at home where you plan to use them, maybe you're a clinic and you've got multiple users, but you don't have rooms that you can dedicate and you just want to use them on your existing treatment beds. They're also just ideal, as I said, for travel. So if you are, you have extended business trips, or you're going to see family, or you're away at the cottage during the summer, once you start using sauna and infrared technology to manage your aches and pains, to boost the detox, maybe you're working on some weight loss goals, you want to keep it going. So the blankets are a good complement if you do travel. They're a great starting point just to get into this type of technology. Maybe you've never tried infrared and you're not in a place where you have access to go try one. So, with probably less cost than a nice dinner out on the weekend with a couple of friends, you can get into the blankets. And there's different levels of quality and investment. So keep that in mind. And there's different sizes as well. So if you're tall versus short, yes, Life Pro thinks of everything. So some of the blankets are on sale, and the blankets, because they're a lower priced, more economical option, there's more choices as far as colors. And so sometimes the prices vary slightly, but take a look. They're all included. I went into Amazon.com and I searched Life Pro saunas. So everything that came up is what's available, and just to show you some of the variety and colors on those as well. So I hope that answers a few questions. Many of you haven't had a chance maybe to see this close up. There is a number of ways that you can incorporate this into your short-term and long-term health goals. But like any of Life Pro's tools, make sure you're doing some goal setting. The goals today may evolve and change, or maybe you have an injury, or you're dealing with a health concern. So a sauna, probably the advantages it has over some of the other things that I'm obsessed with, like vibration plates, is it is a very passive. I always talk about, you can't just set a vibration plate and forget it. But with a sauna, yeah, sometimes it's nice to just shut yourself in and escape reality. And, keeping the electronics and just tuning out for half an hour is a really good way to just get rid of your day, get the results you're looking for as far as the stress, the aches, the pains, as I said. But keep that body healthy through detoxification, boosting lymphatic movement, circulation. All of the infrared technology is probably more studied and been around much longer than a lot of the other things have been, available on a home basis. When a baby is born prematurely, the incubators that they are in is a form of a little infrared sauna. So nothing could be more kind and gentle to your body. But I do recommend adhering to just being conservative starting out. Keep your temperatures conservative and comfortable, and don't go too long and too often until you kind of get a gauge as to how it feels best for you. Make sure you're drinking your water, and your body will tell you. So listen to what signs it's giving you. I had to take my glasses off. My nose was getting sweaty. So I want to come to the camera now. And, I look so much more tanned inside the sauna. Okay. So who's here joining me today? Thank you for joining me, for those of you that are. Sometimes when the sun comes out in the summer, we don't, and we just dismiss them and assume. But nothing better than a good day in the garden where, it's been overcast. It's overcast all the time. We just don't get the sun, it seems like we used to. And you get that heat, but I'm not getting the suntan, and I want to feel like I am. So, I still get the same aches, the same pains. I'm doing more work this time of year, getting the yard ready, that whole seasonal shift. So it's nice to get rid of those aches and pains and force me to just shut down for half an hour. And I really sometimes I'm blessed with the tools that Life Pro has provided for me to learn and demonstrate to you. And for those of you that can consider something like this, fantastic. But for those of you that don't have the budget or the space, they've got a number of different options. Just to, there's no reason you can't start benefiting in some way, shape, or form. Doesn't always mean it's going to be the big Cadillac model right off the bat. So I did put the link in there. Hello, Sherry. Hello, Nancy. Do you have to protect your hair from sauna heat? You know what? It's so interesting you say that. Somebody just a couple of weeks ago mentioned that to me, and I know many that do. As we get older, just like everything else, the hair. I'm in sauna mode today, and like there's nothing compared to what there used to be. But I of course, heat. I wouldn't say it's just necessarily an infrared thing. Sweating, all of these things can take their toll on your hair. I know some people that have put on masks and special head wraps and things like that. There is a sauna hat that Life Pro has available. Where did I put that darn thing? I was fascinated when this thing arrived. I didn't want to look sillier than I had to, but this is an all wool sauna hat, and there's two reasons to wear a sauna hat. Yes, it will to a degree protect the hair directly from the direct heat, but a sauna is most effective if your body has can better regulate its temperature, and by placing something on your. I always knew this when I was camping, but I never knew it about a sauna. So by wearing something like this, your body's better able to regulate your core body temperature. It's not all escaping out through the head. So this is something to consider. Perhaps you have an all wool cotton, something of organic fiber. Wool is what this one that Life Pro offers, and they sell that online. I'll put the link to that one as well. How much does your electric bill go up? You know what? Mine is not terrible. I live in a country where, I've got extra heaters and other things on like this. I wouldn't say it's taking much more than maybe a heated blanket would. And with something this size, like I say, you're probably only running it, maybe 30 to 45 minutes. I don't find I last much more than about 20, 25 minutes once I get conditioned to it. And if my kids are doing a session, maybe it's running for an hour and a half max. Whereas my blanket on my bed, sometimes I'll have that thing on a low setting, longer than I should. So, I would say $10 to $15 if everybody's using it on a monthly basis. And that's Canadian. So, it's like 5 cents American. No, I'm just kidding. I hope that makes sense. But something to test. And, I don't know if your coverage is like, if there's different costs per peak times. I like doing mine really, really late at night when everything else is shut off, because I get really, really sleepy and I just want to go to bed right after I'm done. You could take a shower if you've had a big sweat. The goal is detox. This kind of gets back to the hair question. But I do find certain times a year it dries me out. So I may have a rinse, but I won't wash and do completely my hair and everything, because I just find it's too drying when I'm doing my sauna too regularly. Leave-in conditioner, exactly. I know some ladies we don't get plastic shopping bags like we used to, but tie them up in a knot around their head, or just, perhaps a towel, something to protect the hair from the direct heat, especially if you like laying right up against the heaters, as I do. Can it be set on carpeting without hazards? I would recommend something underneath it. I'd like to maybe get back to you on that question. I'm going to say no. Not so much necessarily that I'm worried that the components are up in the roof is, if there's anything electrical, that's where the power, the panels themselves. So there's really nothing underneath the sauna itself that would cause that issue. But what my experience, you're going to have like 4 huge, massive marks in your carpet. And there may be a discoloration, over time, just with the warmth sitting upon it. I don't think it's so much a heat, fire risk thing, because like I say, the electronics and all the components are in the roof. So that would be my answer for now. And my gut is telling me, if you are on carpet, maybe even just a layer of cardboard or something to stop the fibers and that, the extra dust, that kind of thing, more for the sauna. But I don't think it would be a fire hazard. Just my 2 cents. I'll have to check on that one. I answered Cameron's electrical bill and leave-in conditioner. See, you partook in 2 comments today. So that's my big box sauna demo. I haven't done one in here in a while, and sometimes I don't think about things until I'm doing it. So I wanted to do it in the heat today, and oh yeah, don't forget this, and oh, make sure the makeup's off, make sure the deodorant's off, especially if your goal is to get that sweat going and you're spending a long time. Give your pores everything it needs. If you're dealing with compromised lymphatic issues, this is my new thing in the last few months. Thank you to Jen. But if you are dealing with compromised lymphatics, a sauna, the heat, all of this just gets that lymph and that circulation churning and moving. And you want to make sure that your system, part of getting used to it, has the capacity for the increased flow. So, prep the lymph. So there's all kinds of videos out there. Nobody owns it. Most therapists I have worked with have nagged me about this for years. But prepping the pathways, or, there's 5 or 6 or 9, it depends on who you follow. But when you get into your sauna, one of the things I love to do, and I do this seated, is my lymph prep. So I start with the neck. You can stroke, you can lightly tap. You're not being really hard. The lymphatic vessels are just below the skin surface. Do 10 to 15 reps. Then we come down to the collarbone. Same thing. You can tap. It's a gentle motion. Many of you are dry brushing. You can laugh at my technique because many of you have perfected it. Then we're going to move down. Depending on how large you are here, I am not. So I can do both armpits at the same time. We're doing the nodes in this area, just sort of the bottom of the armpit and working my way up in gentle strokes, 10 to 15 times. Then we're going to move on to the abdomen, just above the belly button, this far up. I like to rub up and down. You can tap 10 to 15 times. Again, just a light brushing action. We're just trying to stimulate those areas, not beat ourselves up. Then we do the groin, tap. We're in this area here, okay? And then the last area, and for a lot of my folks that have poor balance or mobility, this is better done seated, the back of the knees. Again, 10 to 12 little reps. You can do this while you're getting in. You can do another quick round if you want when you're done. It's a simple thing, and I find myself doing it in the bathroom. Like I'm becoming more and more mindful of it. And you know what? I'm noticing the bags under my eyes are a little bit different looking. So they're even though I'm thin, it doesn't mean I'm well hydrated or move my lymph regularly enough for my body to be effective. If I'm going to ramp up detox, you want to make sure that you're giving your body's system as best a chance as it can, not only to break out the sweat, that's one way that our body detoxifies, but to expedite that waste out of our system. And the better our lymphatic system is working in conjunction with our circulatory and everything else, the better you're going to make it more effective in doing its job and wrapping up detoxification and the water and the rest and all those things that we know we should be doing. Okay. So, it's nice and warm in there. Is that the one person? This is the single box sauna. I had mentioned earlier on myself and my daughter, sometimes me and my hubby. I like my own space anyways, so I find a smaller sauna long term. We've had large ones as a family. When I had my studio, the biggest one I had was 4 people. When I closed my studio, we brought that thing home, and once I got it into my basement, I just thought, are you kidding me? I'm not going to wait an hour and a half every day for that thing to heat. That would have affected my power bill. So in a home use or a small space environment, even though we all dream of the large gym sauna experience, when you're the one paying the power bill, I can't recommend enough. I would, there's probably no study or measure, but I bet you it's cheaper to run 2 back-to-back sessions in a smaller sauna than one luxurious larger sauna, because it does take more power requirements to the bigger the sauna, which is just especially if you're in a cold environment in the basement where it's requiring more heat to stay warm, if you will. I hope that makes sense. I'm about 5'10", so just to give you an idea, me standing up in it, I've got about 2 inches. I'm 5'10". If I really want to be a rock star and I'm reading a book or something, which I will sometimes do, I can get my feet up here and lean back and just relax. I like the foot heater. So I like having my feet on the ground. And if you didn't join me at the beginning of the session, doing some lymph prep work is a great idea, as I just did. But I like doing some seated stretches. So I'll practice some breathing exercises. I like to stand up and just do some little all my moves that I sometimes do when I'm like sitting at my chair. I'll roll my shoulders. I like to move when I'm in here. If I sit and slouch, I find my mind takes over and I only last about 10-15 minutes. So I try to do other things. Like I say, have a podcast. I find that works best with my kids too, because they only have so much tension span. Respiratory issues, autoimmune issues. This is a great way to kind of convince the body into that false fever, so that your body's natural immune system ramps up and becomes more effective as well. So anything, the first sign of a cough or a sniffle, this is where my kids go, and usually within a very short period. Things are certainly, their sleep is certainly better that night. It really helps break up the congestion and dry it up. But it's about how it helps that body ramp up the immune system to be more effective in doing its job as well. So there are a bazillion different reasons. I've done lots of sessions on saunas in the past. Today I kind of want to talk about, visualizing, if you are looking at doing this, what's going to be best suited for your home, for your family, for your clinic. Because sometimes it's not the obvious choice. And if you are a practitioner or you're a therapist, sometimes the lay down style, if you're dealing with lots of poor mobility, a lay down style is not only going to heat up quicker, but it's a more comfortable experience sometimes. Sometimes sitting like this is hard on arthritic hips or post-surgery hips. You're having to stand and walk into it. Whereas if you've already got somebody on the treatment table, you can just, slip it. You can even use the lay down blankets. Zip them open like a sleeping bag, lay them down in it, do your work, zip it up and give them a treatment. So, the more that you can do to incorporate in the space that you're already working with, great. If you've got the space, something like this, I mean, obviously is a great decision long term. But there's always a way with the choice that Life Pro's got nowadays to work it into whatever situation your lifestyle presents right now. Okay? I'm going to stop saying okay. I'm trying not to say A as much, and that's what's coming out. I have been wanting a sauna for so long. I have a sauna blanket. Oh, good for you. So, self-care is on you, whatever reason you're doing the self-care. And, I have a lot of people, I can't use a sauna for detox because I don't have, $2,000 to buy one. You got 120 or 130. And a lot of times, sometimes my users that are using the blankets, they tend to be more frequent because you can do it in the recliner, you can do it on the couch. I know some of the things that I do aren't necessarily cleared in the manual, but common sense applies. When you don't be kinking the wires, and when you're done your sauna bag session, let it cool off before you store it and put it away. A lot of the issues sometimes people ask me about are absolutely related to our own handling and care. So, you might have only spent 120 or $30 on it, but treat it like you spent $2,000 and it'll last a lot longer. Okay. Just my 2 cents. We have a gym called Hotworks here. I love it, but it's almost $80 a month. So sometimes we go to the gym more for the community and the motivation, and that's where you got to join the VIP group if you're not a member now. But for $80 a month, in 2 months, you can have a sauna blanket, or in 3 months you can have the Rejuva wrap, which is it's a sauna blanket but a little bit more robust. It's got thicker material. Some people that's their experience. They like the bags, and they're built to last longer, quite frankly. Or perhaps you're looking at a lay down. I know through Amazon there are some payment plans available, and I know through Life Pro and through Amazon, I believe, I'm Canadian, but I think there's ways that you can bill through some of your health spending and those types of things as well. But I'm glad to see that you're already enjoying the technology, even though you may not have room for the bigger styles. And, compared to, honest to God, guys, 10, 15 years ago, something like this in Canada, this would have set me back 3-4 grand, and I have to assemble it by myself and fix it myself if there's a problem. So Joel, as he always does in his brilliance, has brought this to the market at not only an affordable price but free shipping through Amazon. I would, if you are considering these, don't wait till the fall. I don't know what prices are going to be. I don't know what inventory is going to be, and I've had a couple of weeks where every time I recommend something, all of a sudden it's out of stock. So with these bigger priced items, if it is something that you're considering, consider it now. The free shipping alone is a big value, especially on the larger items. And if you have any questions or you're watching this on a recorded basis, tag me at Debby with a Y. Sometimes when the conversation gets going, I don't get all the notifications. I will check back on the carpet thing. I really don't think it's a concern. Can you do the one person for HSA, FSA? It depends on where you are and where you're purchasing it through, but there are some options through Life Pro. If it's not something that's available directly through Amazon, please, you can reach out to Life Pro directly. I know that you can through their shopping cart. Whether the item is physically located with Life Pro or not, I'm sure they would help you figure it out. But I do know they have HSA and FSA spending through their shopping cart items on their site. So just reach out to one of them directly and they can answer that for you. Good question. And everybody's plan is different to a degree. So it depends on your plan and your state. But certainly on something larger item like this, I would look into it. And as I said, with the larger sauna and the lay down infradome, they're both 20% off right now. And shipping is included through Amazon. So what more can I say? I need to get cleaned up and get some dinner going for my family. I'm going to be doing this again next week. I'm going to be doing this on holiday Monday, and I want to talk about some of the other options available. I want to keep the sauna on the focus on saunas. I'm going to talk a little bit more on the medical side, the medical aspects for those of you that may not be aware. And I'm going to talk about I'm going to demo some of the lesser size requiring. I want to show you some of the crossover. So if I covered every sauna option that Life Pro had, then we'd have to do another 2 hours on red light. So there are a number of tools that are both red light and infrared, as I mentioned, such good value with the infrazone. But I would recommend, we'll talk about some of those options. I'll show you some of the wraps that incorporate infrared and red light. Again, the box sauna, the Zen Zone, I should say, the outdoor sauna is on sale 20% off. And then the infradome is regular $15.99, and all of them are free shipping. So it's almost outdoor camping season. So for those of you that are considering the Zen Zone outdoor season, time is now. I don't anticipate that dropping in price anytime soon. But you get the stove, the tent, the gauge that comes with it. I built a little treated bench that holds wood on the bottom and seats about 3 people on the top, and it's awesome. So have your own little sweat lodge this summer and your ice fishing tent this fall. Take a look. That's also in the sauna link that I dropped on the site. For those of you that did join me today, thank you very much. Have a great start to your week, and I look forward to seeing you on holiday Monday, same time next week. More on the benefits of sauna and some different products next week. Thanks.